Let's start the chapter. Okay. This is chapter 1, and it's about introduction to electronic commerce. In this chapter, what we're going to do, the learning objective of it is what electronic commerce is and how it's evolved in the 3 waves of development, why companies concentrate on revenue models and the analysis of business processes instead of the business model when they undertake electronic commerce initiative. The other point, how to identify opportunities for and barriers to electronic commerce initiatives. We're also going to learn how economic forces have led to the development and continued growth of electronic commerce. And we're going to talk about the value chain and the SWOT analysis and how the international nature of electronic commerce affects its growth and development. Now, electronic commerce began in United States, but China, the leader in the online retail sales since 2013. More like Alibaba knows, more and more sales are being made in the smartphone these days. China is the world's largest potential online market too. Now, sellers in China must account for regional differences within the diverse countries. And in this chapter, we address how online businesses have emerged and grown to accommodate various cultures. Also, the infrastructure challenges that they are facing today too. Rapid growth, we started from mid-1990s to 2000. So we have what you call dot-com boom and then dot-com burst. And since 2008, when there is a recession happens, we notice that economic commerce suffered far less than most of the economy. And from 2003 to the present, electronic commerce has expanded more in good times and less affected or contracted in bad times than other economic sectors. Now, electronic commerce can be shopping on the web. It could be businesses trading with other businesses, B2B. Could be internal company processes, could be electronic business like e-business, including all business activities such as internet and technology, and that which is internet and World Wide Web, and also wireless transmission on a mobile networking. Now, we heard of B2C, business to consumers, consumers shopping on the web. We heard of B2B, which is e-procurement, transaction conducted between web businesses, supply management, like, the different department, negotiation, purchase transactions with suppliers will bring Tijari to look at it. We also have less exposed to business processes, which is use the internet technology within the business, and we'll talk, that's the biggest part, which include the B2B and B2C. Now, Business processes is a business activity, is a task as performed by worker doing his or her job. May or may not be, part of the related to any transaction. On the other hand, transaction is an exchange of values, purchase, sales, conversions of raw material into a finished good. Business processes are a group of logical, related, sequential activities and transactions. Web usually help the people to be more effective in all type of jobs. Now, the rough approximate shown in figure 1, we get to show it there. The dollar value and a number of transactions, which is a B2B, much greater than B2C. Surprisingly, number of transactions supporting business processes greater than B2C and B2B combined. So business processes is much higher even with these two both. So let's look at this, figure how it looks like, and we'll explain that. Okay, so now the C2C or consumer to consumer means individual buying and selling among themselves, like KGG. Web auction also sites, there also. And C2C sales include in the categories, by the way, the B2B, sellers act as a business for transaction purposes. And we have what you call B2G or business to the government, which is such as paying taxes, filling required report, and this is transaction happen between businesses and government and individual and government. B2G transaction included in B2B discussions when we talk about it. Then there is something called EFT, which is electronic fund transfers, which is wire transfers. We will talk about that in a great detail. And then electronic transmission of account exchange information over a private communication network. And then we have what you call EDI or electronic data interchange, which is business to business transmission of computer readable data to a standard format. Example of business processes, we look at the purchasing raw materials or good for resale, converting materials and labor into finished good, managing transaction and logistics, hiring and training employees, managing business finance. Also, we can identify the processes that benefit from e-commerce technology. So not all can be improved with the technology. Some processes cannot be improved when activities cannot be improved by the technology. Now, let's look at the role of merchandising and merchandise. Merchandising is a combination of store design, layout, and a product display knowledge. Now, salespeople have the skill to identify customer needs and meet them in the merchandising. So we have a combination, and we have salespeople, and merchandising and personal selling skill can be difficult to practice remotely or over e-commerce, certain products. Some products, good candidate for electronic commerce, not all of them. Customer do not need, these products like where the customer do not need to experience the physical characteristics before purchase. Technology has made more processes suitable for electronic commerce. So with the technology, we have all the supporting processes are there. Now, it is through the commerce, it's easier to sell a product that have, such as a strong brand reputations. It also appeals to small but geographically diverse groups. The traditional commerce, it's better for product relying on a personal selling skills. It could be a combination, we'll talk about it. The transaction involved a large amount of money. That's when the traditional skills, traditional commerce comes in the picture. Now, the combination of electronic and traditional commerce strategies best when the business processes include both commodity and personal inspections aspects. We'll bring some example. Electronic commerce can help, usually it can help to increase the profit and sales and decrease the business costs. And this is why people go in electronic commerce companies. There is also within electronic commerce, there's what you call the virtual community, which is gathering of people sharing a common interest, what we see in the Facebook, for example. In the e-commerce purchasing opportunity, we see that we need to identify, you can identify the new suppliers and business partners, efficiently obtain competitive bid information. We can increase the speed, information exchange accuracies, and we have the wide range of choices available within 24 hours a day. There is a lower cost, we say, to issue and secure like an electronic payment of tax refund. That's a B, C to G, or G to C, or G to B. We see there's a public retirement, there is a welfare support. We also can utilize by provide fast transmission, provide a fraud, theft, loss productions, electronic payment easier to audit and monitors, telecommuting, reduce the traffic and pollution, product and service available in the remote areas also can be available for them. Poor choices for electronic commerce. Usually, if you have a perishable good or food and you have a high cost and unique items, there is a 4 barriers for any electronic commerce, which is one, need for a critical mass of customers with appropriate technology. So you need to be exposed with a large customer space with appropriate technology. There is unpredictability in cost and revenues. There's insufficient tools for hardware and software integration. And these where we use a digital marketing. And there is what you call for the unpredictability in cost and revenue. And there is what you call culture and legal barriers also. We'll explain that too. The total cost, transaction cost, it means the total costs a buyers and sellers incur while gathering information and negotiation, purchase and sales transaction, all the costs that happen before and after the purchase and sales transaction. Costs could be include brokerage fees and sales commissions, cost of information search and acquisitions. And we will look at this, to explain that, we'll look at the sweater dealers example, the 2 cases. This is one of the examples how it happens as a business. And the second example can look at it. This is how it happens, the hierarchy form of economic organization. So it could be open or it could be organized with a monitoring information and control information too. Now, in the electronic commerce, using electronic commerce basically to reduce transaction costs, it improves the flow of information first. increase the coordinations of actions too, and change the attractiveness of vertical integration, whether makes it more attractive or less, depend on the products and the companies. We will look at this, the network form of economic organization today and at how it works. And we will look at this part first and explain how this is connected, where these don't have to own operation like this. Explain that. So there is a value chain, and we need to look at the value chain to improve or to find a place for us. This is what you call a strategic business unit primary activities. It's about designing, identifying customers, purchasing materials, and suppliers. It's about manufacturing a product or creating a services. It's about market and sales. It's about delivery and provide after-sales service and support. These are all as part of the unite primary activity, the value that we can find there to add in the e-commerce. There is, you might have the primary activities and the supporting activities. Some companies do not have this part and they can outsource it. And this is the primary. We will look at activities versus each one of them, how it's done. And then we will have a SWOT analysis, which is we explain the strength, weakness, opportunities, and threats in a company. And that is what you call TOES. We will also look at that too. We first investigate the business unit where we identify the strength and the weakness, then review the operating environment, which is identify the opportunities and threat presented. Then we take advantage of the opportunities such as building on a strength, avoid the threats, and doing some kind of what you call compensate for the weakness. Here is an example where we can analyze strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat. We'll go through that. And so these are, and this is in an example. So directly, how we're going to address these weakness, strength, threats, and opportunities. And the final thing that we wanted to talk about it is you notice that China is a 40% of B2C, 31% belong to United States and Canada, Europe at 20%, and rest of the world only 9%. Here's another thing that we might be challenged is language issues. And basically what we do when we do e-commerce, we think globally and we act locally. We also provide local, therefore we provide local language version of website, as customers are more likely to buy from the site in own language. That's more likely, not 100%. Website which is available only in English have a decline dramatically, about 25% of the total sites. So 25% of, say, only English is being declined for the 25%. This is the parties involved in a typical international, say, trade transactions. And we will look at this and the process of how the physical flow, which is the red dot, and the information, which is the blue information there. And that's the end of chapter. Thank you very much.